Yo, 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 yo. Am I live? Says I'm live. Sounds like I'm live. What's good? Happy Wednesday. Yeah, buddy. A fine Wednesday morning. If it looks like I'm looking at notes, I'm attempting to. Yeah, man. What's up, everybody? Enough of that. Welcome to a fine Wednesday edition. BS with B Hannas. That's me. I'm Nikki B Hannas here live on YouTube on a fine Wednesday morning. Whole premise of this show, typically speaking, I'll wake up and take a nice walk and read some good stuff. Come out here. I'll talk to the people. If you find yourself here, you're the people I'm talking to. I guess I'm talking to everybody, man. The whole world, the big wide world, world wide web. Yeah, then I'm done here. I'll go lift some weights, then go to work, man. Handle my business. Handle my business and keep it pushing. Keep it pushing, man. You know what I mean? On a Wednesday, I kind of, in theory, as far as my notes go, I like to go on Monday nice and narrow with the mindset, with the mentality. And on Wednesday, we come out a little bit, just come out a little bit. Look at what's going on around us. And it's all kind of the same thing anyway. Because then on Friday, it's like, I like to look at the big picture. All the same thing, man. And if I keep thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking about what I want to talk about, it all goes away anyway. Most of the time I come out here, if I have any kind of preparation, it just don't happen. I'll start riffing. I'll start actually talking. I'll start actually using my faculties and expressing something. And, oh, yeah, I wanted to talk about this part of philosophy. It almost always goes away. But that's all right. That's the point, man. That's the point. So I like coming out here quick, about 15, 20 minutes in the morning, dude. Just pop in, say what's up, offer something. Maybe it's good. Maybe it's not so good. Maybe it's only for me. Maybe I'm not even giving you, the viewer, the listener, maybe I'm not even giving something to you as much as I am just figuring stuff out in real time. But it's all good, dude. It's all good. I was listening to something yesterday just as I walk because I'm doing 75 hard again. So there's that. Means I'm throwing that weighted vest on every day and getting out there, but I'm also in the operator standard. One of my operator standard general targets is I need to lose some motherfucking weight, dude. I stopped paying attention. I stopped paying attention. I keep doing the right thing, but when I find my blade is not so sharp, when I find that I'm just getting a little dull and cutting a corner here and shaving 5 to 10 minutes off a workout there and cheating a little bit on the diet too much here, it just eventually it's like, man, I wonder why I'm so frustrated. I wonder why. When I existentially just feel oppressed and depressed and there's something just weighing me down, I wonder why it is. So that's the point of doing 75 hard, as far as I understand it. And I've done it a bunch of times. And every time I do it, once I'm in it, it's like, this is flow state. This is just a better place to be than wherever I was literally a week ago. I don't know. I don't know what the psychological function of it is. What's it doing to my neural pathways? How is it reconfiguring my neuroplasticity? Because everyone's in this space, let's call it, in the personal development space and the I don't know success space, achievement space, whatever. I'm kind of like really influenced in and kind of parallel to maybe on a good day. You know what I mean? Because really, at the end of the day, I come out here and I say, get sober, do good things, get in the gym, crush it. I'm a guitar player, so I identify with the artists and with the musicians and people that are involved in creative endeavors, you know. So when I say keep ripping, to me it means yeah, all the above. You know, if you're a musician, it means you got to play music. Take that to whatever end it needs to be. You know, I wonder how many guitar players are out there that just say they're guitar players and never pick it up. It just sits in the room and, you know, hasn't there's an amp next door to it or something or, you know, whatever. You know, how many people are artists, but then they don't spend any time on their canvas. They don't spend any time doing the craft that they profess to be doing. And I'm not saying I'm not blasting anybody, but you know, I think about that. I think about that a lot. And if you're inclined to do something like that, you got to keep doing it. You got to just do it. You just have to do it. I think a lot of us, myself included, sometimes, you know, we're subject to that like paralysis where I don't know what I'm doing and I don't have anything to aim towards. You know, you find that stuff out just by doing it. That's what I found in my life. You know, you find out you have to have a vague intention of sorts. You can't have ultimate clarity towards anything right away. Seldom does it just like a bolt of lightning and you know exactly what you're chasing. But if you have a vague idea, you got to play in the fields of vagueness for a couple minutes, trial and error. But if you want to be a writer, let's just say, and you don't ever write, you're never going to find out what it is that you're called to actually write. You're never going to find out what actually is that one project that you have to just zero in on. So you got to keep doing it. You know what I mean? If you want to get in shape, but you never do something about it, you're just going to keep wanting. You're just going to keep wanting and being in a state of want. So, you know, that's what it means to me. Keep ripping, lift, shred, keep ripping. That's kind of something that I live by, man. You know, it gets tough because I don't know, man. There's when I listen to stuff, because when I walk, I was saying, so I'm in the operator standard too. And that's a great app. There's a link down there if you want to check it out. Mr. Andy Frisella does a much better job at selling it than I'm going to even try to, but it's all good because it's a sick thing to be a part of. It's a cool thing to just have, a very valuable tool. You know, since I got it in the initial drop, I got in there back in December. Yeah, this whole almost 8 months of this year, 2026, you know, I've been very productive. I've been very just on top of things. Even for me, I've wanted to be a writer, let's just say, for a long time. And I kind of played with the idea of having a Substack last year, you know, and there was a season where I was like, all right, cool. This is a good practice. I'm going to, you know, Monday, Wednesday, Friday do the podcast. And I got the jam night here. I got this thing here. And in between Tuesdays, Thursdays, I'm going to write just like I do the podcast. Just come out here. If I want to be a speaker, but I don't do any speaking, it's a fiction. It's never going to happen. So even this coming out unprepared, just doing it, you know, stumbling and tripping and crawling. Eventually you get on your knees and start walking a little bit. If you want to run, you got to walk. All the cliches, all those cliches are true. But back in maybe, you know, I don't know, last September, last October, I'm like, you know what? I believe I'm a talented writer, but I'm not spending any time writing. And if I do, it's only like self indulgent journaling on occasion when the mood takes me there because all these self help people say that journaling is a great way. And it just never did nothing for me. But, but even just having the slight audacity to be like, yeah, I got a Substack account means I got to fill it up with stuff, means I got to start participating in this craft. Okay. So now, since I've been in the operator standard, it's like, all right, every day I give myself 5 tasks, a daily power list, so to speak, of things that have to get done. And if I don't do them, I'm a bitch. Real simple. Real simple. That sounds like a lot of pressure. Yeah. Well, if the whole point of things is achieving, if the whole point of things is being disciplined and acting, you know, on that discipline to execute something, to get something done, which leads over time and input to accomplishment and achievement, yeah, it is a lot of pressure. And there's a bunch of days that I just fail. There's a bunch of days when I'm like, nah, F this. I ain't doing it, you know, but that's where I'm catching myself slipping. That's where I'm catching myself, you know, putting lackadaisical and mediocre effort in. And at the end of the day, when I get these spells, you know, I'm chopping up some videos from last week to put out on shorts, you know, and it's like, yeah, well, I missed 2 of the 3 days last week because I was subject and adhering to the bitch voice, and that's just not the way to be. It's not terminal, it's not the end of the world, but you got to recognize it for what it is. And for whatever reason, if I can't run my own program, and I kind of feel guilty about this sometimes, here I am talking all this shit on the internet. Here I am talking about this, being a man of this, putting forth this idea of that, but I can't run my own program. I need to use someone else's program vis-a-vis 75 hard. Part of me is like, man, you suck, Benny Hannas. You ain't shit. But that's just dumb, negative, pessimistic thinking. That's not a it's not the right way to be. The right way to be is be like, all right, well, this works. This has proven to work for me. So let's just do it. let's just let's just say today's the day and drink the gallon of water and get that 45-minute workout instead of the 25, 30-minute one, which invariably I start slipping to. Shame on me. It's my own lack of focus. It's my own offloading of responsibility because I don't have the time, because I hate my job, because this is bullshit. It's all fair. That's all true to some extent, but it can't be constantly and chronically true to the extent that it becomes a determining factor. Maybe it contributes, but the other answer is just spend the extra 15 minutes in the gym, dude. It's raining. That's the point. Get out there and walk anyway. Throw that weighted vest on. Get out and get some, and you'll feel better for it afterwards. Put them goddamn tasty cake donuts down. There's a reason they're only selling them for $4 a bag because it's garbage. We know that, but whatever. I digress. Part of my thing has been, since I'm in the OS, the operator standard. You got to give yourself tasks, and which means every day it's like a minimum word count for me. If I want to be a writer, I got to write. All right, 500 words a day. It doesn't always come easy. Some days it comes way easier than others, but there's something to it right there. If I'm working on a book trilogy, which is what I'm doing behind the scenes, and I got this big ambitious scope of something that I want to do, for the part 3 of it. Well, there's a lot of there's a lot of research, and there's a lot of just brushing up on my knowledge. There's a lot of just, if I'm going to write and invoke great traditions of, philosophy and sociology and craft my own argument, but almost like the English major that I was, constructed as if it's a type of academic writing, means I got to be hip to the academic writing, which means I got to devote time to reading this and intentionally and focus, put myself into a place of, being a student again. And it's really easy just to say, nah, I don't feel like doing it. I don't feel like it. I'd rather watch TV. I'd rather scroll on my phone or just waste time. You know what I mean? Like it's tough like that. But this is kind of where I'm at. And then I find myself in a flow state. I found this book that I need to read, that I get the premise of. It's called what is it? After Virtue. Alastair McIntyre. It was written in the 80s. And it's the basic premise of it, as far as I can tell, is that it's a moral philosophy book, right? But it's putting forth the argument that most people who engage in moral philosophy or any type of like quote unquote academic or intellectual argument, they're doing so from a place of a fractured base. You ever heard the saying, we stand on the shoulders of giants? It's true. And we absolutely do. But in the great perspective, you wonder how much of this is just so far away from us and has been completely deconstructed and completely just like destroyed. There's an absence of context, which is pretty important. You can't decenter context from things for long. You can as a thought experiment, but not, in perpetuity. If we're going to talk about, I don't know, let's just say Plato. If we're going to talk about Plato, but we're picking and choosing from the remains of what actually was Plato, that's kind of the premise of it. And yeah, I'm diving into a big ass philosophy textbook. I'm like, yeah, this is great, dude. I got to wake up and take a nice walk and, get some miles under my feet. And I come back and feel like a student again. I got to come out here and talk to the people. That's a great morning. That's a fine morning indeed. I get to go do a leg day today. I got to start squatting again. Can't stay off the horse too long, but I got to not hurt myself too. But it's those kind of things, man, where it's like, yeah, that's what it's about. And I guess if I gotta go to work and run the burger joint, all right. I like my life when I'm not confined by this story that I tell myself about my job and my lot in life and these, what do they call it in the self-help personal development space? These limiting beliefs. Yeah, limiting beliefs. Yeah, there's a tyranny. There was a tyranny involved with the self-imposed limitations. And once you're aware of them, it's like really hard to break them. Most people don't really, I think, allegedly ever get to a place of awareness with them in the first place. So how can you then cast them off? And then once you do, and you struggle and you fight, and it's a battle to cast those things off. I think that's where I'm at. And I'm so cognizant of it that it's like, oh, this is just miserable sometimes. But, if that feels like a heavy weight, hey, fuck it. That's the point. That's the point. Because I don't know what's on the other side of it. God willing, I get to the other side. And I bet you it's a beautiful place to be. I bet you it's a beautiful place to be. Yeah, if I could come out here and talk to the people for a little bit and then go catch my workout and then come back and just be a student all day and not have to worry about money or, whatever. Thinking out loud, thinking positively, visualizing. That'd be a great place to be. And that's where this whole tangent started. Because as I'm out walking yesterday, I'm listening to a video on YouTube because I like the grind, the hustle culture, the discipline stuff. I'm a big fan of that. I advocate for it because it's saved my life in many ways, for sure. But on the flip side, the opposite side of that coin is like the new thought, the new age, the manifestation literature, which I allude to a lot in here. Among those guys is Mr. Neville Goddard, who people in that space, they refer to him as the great mystic Neville Goddard. And Neville Goddard's an interesting cat. He's an interesting cat. His main thing is, you have to embody the feeling of the wish fulfilled. And if you can embody that feeling, whatever your vision is, whatever your wish is, whatever that end result is, where you want to be, if you can feel it as if it's in the present tense, despite what, observable and demonstratable and empirical evidence allegedly is telling you, if you can bypass all that and just assume that feeling, he calls it the law of assumption. Just assume that it's already done. The creation that you're seeking is finished. That's a captivating idea. Now, how the fuck do I do that? That's where I get with it. How in the world do I do that? But that's what Neville Goddard talks about. And I was listening. I just like to, when I'm walking and shaking off my work day and getting some more miles under my feet, building up a sweat, whatever. I'm listening to this video and a big thing, this particular video, be delusional. Be delusional and ignore your reality. And that's a hard thing, ladies and gentlemen, because isn't there such a virtue? Isn't there such a, like a prestige almost? And I'm very guilty of this too. This, hey, what's up, Jess? She's in the chat. People who hate the idea of it is what it is. Objectively, it's true. I mean, and it's not even like a bad truth, but I understand why some people think it's a bad thing to say or it has a certain connotation to it. I get it. How are you looking in the face of something for what it is? This is the cause of my spiral back in May when I was just a miserable, wallowing, depressed, angry, agitated, misanthropic, cynical piece of garbage for about a month. I had to get myself out the weeds. And out of that is when I'm like, you know what? I got to start writing. So that's why I got two basic, two manuscripts right now that are rough drafts for all sakes and purposes from just ripping from 2 3 months of just sitting down and writing every day with discipline, with this objective to accomplish. But how do I ignore what I'm looking at? Yeah, I mean, the end of the month comes, the first of the month comes, get up, get up. It's the first of the month. Then I ain't got no money. Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. And we all feel it. So the collective consciousness of that is a strong one, and it's difficult to cast off. Be delusional with reality, huh? Disregard what I'm looking at. Ignore what seems to be my reality. And instead put the feeling of the wish fulfilled as a superior place. Every now and then I get it. Every now and then I swing and I hit. Most of the time I swing and I miss as far as that goes. But that's the task. Oh shit, I'm at 20 minutes. Yeah, I gotta go, everybody. That's all right. Happy Wednesday. A fine Wednesday indeed. Thanks for hanging out. Live on YouTube, BS with Hannas, with me, Nikki Hannas. I make music. You can find this podcast that's not musical, but I'm getting there. I got a long list of plugs. You can find this live on YouTube at BS with Hannas. I send it out to Apple Podcast, Spotify Podcast, Amazon Podcast, so on and so forth. And I appreciate you guys listening on audio. There's some listeners out there. You guys are real ones, as a matter of fact. Yeah, keep it real. There's another YouTube channel out here, mostly just guitar playing, the backing track jam series. That's Nikki Hannas music. If you want to hear my music, which I affectionately call heavy blues metal, there's some blues, there's some metal. It's kind of grungy. It's kind of rock, whatever. Go check it out. NikkiBHannas.com, NikkiBHannas.bandcamp.com, Nikki B. Hannas on all streaming services. You want some merch? I got some merch. Oh, yeah, buddy. That's that 2XL early 2000s white boy heavy blues metal t-shirt. Yeah, check it out. HeavyBluesMetal.com. What else is there? You want to follow me on Instagram? Scope it on out, dude, at Heavy Blues Metal. Is there anything I'm missing? Probably not. I'm out. Happy Wednesday. Keep it real. One love. Keep ripping. Later.